Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on another beautiful episode of Brooklyn Baritone. But you know what, whenever you choose to join me, morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, late at night, it doesn't matter. I always appreciate the likes, the looks, the listens. Of course, I'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe and notification bell from my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. But of course, do that if you want to, though I would like the algorithm to swing in my favor. Now, there's a lot of things that's going on as of late, as of the past few years, past few decades, where you hear Armageddon's happening, where you hear so much things are going to happen. The the economies are going to crash, especially in this country, globally. You're hearing so much things of famine going to hit. So many divisive points, so many divisive things are happening where while we're on the ground here, fighting with each other, arguing with each other, consistently finding something to be divided about. There are those that are doing and planning and executing basically ways to run our lives. We're at the point where we can't even say it's just a crazy tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists just making up stuff crazy. So many things have come with receipts now. So many things that people have suspected and tried to basically point at has starting to come to roost. Many things are coming to light right now. Now, when I look at so many YouTube headlines, TikTok headlines, Facebook, look in the newspapers, you're always hearing that people have to get ready for something great happening. People feel that power's going to be out, food shortages, no jobs, heavy police state, whatever the case is. We have to understand where these things are coming from. I'm going to try and make this short to the point as much as I possibly can. Those things that are happening are not organic. Yes, they were prophesied to happen, but we're going to get to that hopefully in the meat and by the end of that, of what I'm speaking now. The things that's happening to us right now that we're being set up for is this chess right here where we're playing, and most of us are like basically pawns. But we're pawns mainly because we just don't have the proper knowledge of what's going on in real history. Now, when you hear of the power grid going to collapse, or it's going to be shut off, or you're hearing of catastrophes, or you're hearing of the economic state, like I just said earlier, these things are not organic. These things are basically manipulated consistently. And people will say, you know, they're planning this, they're planning that. People will usually say, who's they? The thing is, they have been existing for a very long time. The book says that there's nothing new under the sun. Many people repeat that phrase and they don't even realize it comes from the book itself. But the thing is, these people that are trying have positively executed our demise spiritually, to break us mentally, to break us physically, who have introduced us to myriad of different attacks on our bodies, filling us with chemicals, surrounding us with chemicals in our foods and our atmospheres, filling us with very negative energy, negative news, negative words through media, through controlled media, consistently. And then also even worse out of all of that is separating us from our source of life, from our creator, from Yah. Now these things, again, aren't new. The people who run these things, the receipts are there, they have a very wicked agenda. A very wicked agenda, not because somebody decided to wake up one day and figure that I want to take over the world and this is what I'm going to do. They're being led and instructed. Best believe that there is a spiritual warfare. The spiritual warfare are the rules that these people play by. Whether you choose to believe it or not, you want to squabble that Yah is a real entity, a real being that created us, that's on you. The documentation is there. The history is there. Do your work as a proper journalist, as a proper detective, and you look at all these things and connect the dots. Now, these people who follow the spiritual warfare, who's utilizing these things, They have a playbook they follow by. They have their own agenda because they feel this world, this material world, is all there is, and they're doing whatever they can to gain control over all of us and all the resources, basically for their own greedy needs. When you look at Freemasonry, look at the occult, look at Kabbalah, these are things that are guiding these elites, these powers, these entities to make these decisions, to rule over us, because we would think that we have so much scientific advancement and so much technology, our lives would be better. We should be like the Jetsons right now, living our best lives, but we are not. We're actually being more controlled. We're being more dumbed down. The education system that we've had were controlled by these people to make us dumb down. I remember when we used to say prayers in school, they took that out. I also know of a time when people used to be much more kind to each other. No, it wasn't the best when I was coming up, but people had a little bit more morals. People had a little bit more character about them. That is all gone right now because of such destructive things that we have been inundated with, that we have allowed ourselves to be indoctrinated with. Not being able to discipline your children properly. Not being able to speak out against certain things and people because it's deemed as wicked or not the way that Yah has created all of us to be. You don't have to hate the person, but you could hate exactly what they do because you see the destruction behind it. When you see these people, you hear these billionaires, these celebrities consistently getting into these scandals, all right, of trafficking, of orgies, of sacrificing those around them so they could get ahead. This is not new. This goes back to Mitzrayim, Egypt. This goes back to Babylonia under Nimrod. This goes back under the Canaanites. This goes back to Sodom. It goes back to Gomorrah. It goes back to worshiping Baal, Azazel, Asherah, Dagon. These are all entities, demonic entities that these people in the past have sacrificed people to. They have sacrificed themselves to. They have dedicated themselves from straying from what Yah is. We're going back hundreds of years, thousands of years ago. This is nothing new. These people, this is an ancient tradition of rebellion. And how the adversary gets them to work is that you would rebel without knowing that you're rebelling. They'll make it look cool. They'll make it look acceptable. They start small. And then once they start in small and they get their way in, then the floodgates open. I want you guys to understand that, yes, if you feel compelled to stock up on food, do so. If you feel compelled to stock up on certain resources, figuring if it hits the fan, power grids go down, food shortages, you can't go anywhere, you can't go outside, yes, prepare yourself for that. But I do not want you all, the point is not to be driven by fear. That is how the adversary moves. The adversary moves by misinformation. The adversary moves by deception. The adversary moves out of force, out of fear, out of coercion. And the adversary likes to keep you in the dark and oppress you. They lead you down a path, and once you're down that path and you're worse off for it, basically you're left on your own to deal with the repercussions. I don't want anyone to just look at that. Don't look at the distractions. Yes, prepare for what's coming so you can understand what's going on, where these things come from, because they are still sacrificing people today. They're sacrificing our time. They're sacrificing children. As you know, the whole visibility of child trafficking, human trafficking, has gotten much more visibility, even more so as of late, past few years. That has never stopped. These people sacrifice people for rituals. Make no mistake, believe what you want, because many people would argue with me that Yah doesn't exist. They'll believe in evolution. Well, the thing about evolution is that Charles Darwin wasn't the first Darwin to play with that theory. His grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, was the one that actually started Charles Darwin on that. He's the one who actually did the research and whatever it is that he wanted to do, that he did, to open a doorway for people to think about we evolved. Erasmus Darwin was a Freemason. If you look up many Freemasons, what they have done is deceive a great deal of us. What they've done is compromise Yah's word as an absolute authority in our lives. Once you understand what the enemy looks like, you know the spiritual warfare that they are engaging in with us, you could understand their tactics. Most of us do not understand their tactics. And it's not just about being a holier than thou person. You just have to be someone who's astute with paying attention to how the world is. Read the book. The book is the source. You can't get away and get around it to learn more. And then once you take the book, you can say, I don't really believe in the Bible because it's been written by men that probably wanted to corrupt other people, and the word has been changed. It's okay. The same way how you would believe any other source for whatever you believe in life. You read that book and you go through it. Not only it has bloodlines and genealogies, it has places, it has events, it has prophecy from the past and some that has not come to pass as yet. It names specific things in there that you can correlate to any other documentation in the world. The receipts are there. I'm asking you all the time to trust in Yah. And I want you to understand the things that the adversary, the enemies, these wicked people who just want material gain, to gain control over your mind, to understand the tactics they use. They use double talk. They have their symbol and symbology in our faces. And because we have no idea what real history is, we have no idea because we don't want to read the book because we feel like it's closed-minded. That's exactly what the enemy wants you to do. I don't want you guys to feel lost. I don't want you to feel fearful. I don't want you to feel there's no hope. There is hope. Will hard times come? Yes. Will it come for everybody? Possibly not. But there are people who will have to go through it, unfortunately. The thing is, the hope is that you trust and rely in Yah. Understand these things are going to happen, but understand that that is the focus. These things are meant to pass because when people separate themselves from Yah, this wickedness happens to everyone. That's all I wanted to say. If you guys want to look at more of my content, please go to my website at brooklynbaritone.com. I also have merch there. You can check out more of my videos on my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. You could also find me on LinkedIn under Corey Ashley. I'm also on Google, not yet, on Facebook and Instagram. Now you can find me on Google Play. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, Apple Music under Podcasts, and Amazon Music under Podcasts. I also air on public cable television 4 times a week, 2 times a week. Tuesdays at 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. and 2 p.m. There you go, Corey. Anyways, that's all I want to share with you guys. I want to give you guys hope. Thank you for listening.